Patients with a paucity of T cells are now being treated by scientists who are looking for ways to resuscitate them. In the field of cancer immunotherapy, a lot of research has concentrated on discovering strategies to directly activate those T cells. Dendritic cells, which are immune cells that play a supporting role in the immune system, have been identified as a possible new technique to activate T cells without directly activating them.
A human-created barrier between two areas of land, used to designate borders, keep animals and humans in or out, and even as an adornment. Stone, dirt, or wood may be used to build fences in newly populated areas.
Bacteria, viruses, and tiny protozoa are well known. These microscopic agents may be tracked as they enter our systems and cause harm to our organs. We're learning more and more about how our bodies fight off these invaders, and we've developed a smart chemical that can aid in the battle.
NASA Administrator Bill Nelson, who was a congressman when he took a flight on a space shuttle decades ago, stated that low Earth orbit is now more accessible to more people.
The shorter days are a signal to trees that it's time to get ready for winter. Trees begin to shut down their food production systems and lower the quantity of chlorophyll in their leaves when days get shorter in fall, since there isn't enough light in winter for photosynthesis to take place.
Methods of teaching that combine several disciplines are known as interdisciplinarity. The importance of this idea is growing, not only in academia but also in business. An interdisciplinary approach is more than simply putting two or more disparate disciplines together. Nell says that, in order to seek protecting from their furry foes, birds actually prefer to build their nests in plots of swamp with a resident alligator. In fact, in one study a graduate student planted fake alligators. The birds seem to prefer to build nests close to them. Where there's a water source, there are alligators, so it's sort of this mode of protection around these colonies.
In December, sugar cookies are a favorite treat. Sugar cookies are baked using a simple combination of ingredients: flour, icing sugar, butter, vanilla extract, baking soda, and eggs. Cookie cutters are used to carve out shapes from the cookie batter. Stars, snowmen, wreaths, candy canes, and angels are some of the most popular shapes. For around 8 minutes, the cookies are cooked at 350 degrees. Stamps, envelopes, postmarks, postcards, and other items associated with mail service are all considered part of the field of philately. The term philately also refers to the practice of acquiring and storing stamps. Frenchman Georges Herpin invented the phrase in 1864, from the Greek philos, meaning love, and atelier, meaning tax-free. Individuals learn and socialize better when they have a strong command of the English language. Communication with family, friends, and co-workers is built on this basis. Preventing issues in the future, such as unemployment, social isolation, and even involvement in the judicial system, may be achieved by ensuring that children have good reading and writing abilities at an early age.
It was long believed that all swans in Australia were white until European explorers discovered otherwise. Australian black swans were first spotted in Shark Bay in 1636 by a Dutch mariner named Antoine Con. Explorer Willem de Vlaming brought back 2 of these critters from Australia's Swan River to Europe as proof of their existence.
According to the monthly news magazine, German parliamentarians should persuade their Brussels counterparts to promote incentives for only zero-emission vehicles to be registered by 2030, citing a resolution made during a Bundesrat meeting. If you have a true republic, you have a government that is dependent on your citizens' desires, and your citizens' desires are depending on your government's desires. James Madison argued in Federalist 51, for example, that the size and form of the United States government made it subject to the will of the people.
In English, teenage females continue to outperform their male peers, whereas the gender gap in math and scientific success has nearly vanished. At least 80% of the 14-year-old females attained at least the predicted level of proficiency in English last year, compared to just 66% for the males. However, the gender gap in arithmetic is only 1%, whereas the gender gap in science is 2%.
Alexander sought after Bessus eastbound until he was gotten and slaughtered. At that point, wishing to join the most easterly parts of the Persian Empire into his own, he battled in Focal Asia. It was rough, ice-chomped crusade, which raised pressures inside his particular armed force and, at last, would prompt Alexander slaughtering 2 of his dearest companions.
British police were therefore behind their European counterparts in establishing and growing their own police forces. France had done so much earlier, in fact, that the name police comes from their language. A police force was widely considered as an oppressive and alien concept, especially by the majority of the population, who viewed it as a manifestation of the government's power to subjugate them. In attempts to understand the very nature of our reality, physicists sure have some mind-bending theories. Like what if information is a tangible and fundamental aspect of physical reality itself alongside matter and energy? Or, alternatively, what if information is the fifth state of matter?
The question is asked, how is understanding possible? The technique for thinking of this approach is that while Scripture is something past a standard substance, Scripture is in the principal examination content which individuals endeavor to appreciate. In this sense, the benchmarks of seeing any substance applied to the Bible, additionally paying little regard to whatever other additional, especially philosophical gauges are considered.
Despite the fact that global warming is a global occurrence, its consequences can differ greatly from place to place. Temperatures on the ground have risen nearly twice as quickly as those on the surface of the oceans since 1979. As a result of the ocean's larger effective heat capacity and the fact that oceans lose more heat through evaporation, ocean temperatures rise more slowly than land temperatures. Over the next century, the Earth's temperature is expected to rise by an average of 4.5 degrees Fahrenheit. Unlike animals, plants can't just uproot themselves and go north to avoid the worst of the heat. Researchers wondered if the animals that spread plant seeds would be able to aid.